Welcome to PA Timber Goose, another lovely Sunday morning. Very peaceful in here. Got an early start again once again. You may hear some farm animals in the back. I am currently in Lancaster County. Today we're going to talk about the pink envelope and wildlife management units and harvest numbers from the past year. This pink envelope will be no more. Hunting licenses for 2023 will go on sale on June 26th, and the tags will be available over the counter. So this process will vanish. Never had any issues with this, and I actually like getting this. I actually look forward to getting this pink envelope in the mail because you know you got your antlerless tags. You can look at the back of it here. You put your return address up in the left-hand corner, and then down on the bottom here, see if we can focus on that. You put the county treasurer in the unit that you wanted to get your antlerless tag in the past, and then they changed that to any county commissioner. I've always sent mine to Pottsville. Pottsville always does an awesome job of mailing out their antlerless applications, and the one time I did lose my tags in the woods, I had a new antlerless tag in approximately 2 days. They were very courteous. Even when I messed up my application, they still helped me out. And after you got all that filled out, you circle how many applications are in the envelope, mail that in. On this page here, this is what you would see after they put your antlerless tags in here and seal the envelope shut. And then you would moisten the end and stick it shut. This is an older envelope. This doesn't have the tape on it. The newer ones had tape on it. And sometimes these would come open, so I would always scotch tape the edges. So when they tear this off, it'll come open anyhow. The pink envelope has been with us for more than 4 decades. And it is no more. They're trying to update the system, but newer is not always better. And we'll have some thoughts on that later. This has been part of our history for over 4 decades, and never had any issues with this. Some people have because it's not filled out correctly or they mailed it too late. Pennsylvania, these are our wildlife management units. Pennsylvania has 67 counties and 23 wildlife management units. It doesn't look like it, but I actually counted them all to make sure. So, are larger wildlife management units better, or smaller ones better? This is the second video on wildlife management unit sizes. Made a video about this in the past and have gotten very few responses. This is my opinion, and I always will say smaller units are better. If you bought a rifle and it shot 7 inches to the left, 7 inches high, would you consider that dialed in? I would say no, because you keep missing what you're shooting at. And that goes the same with antlerless tags. And I'll go over that here in a few minutes. Currently this year we have over 1 million antlerless tags available. The estimated deer population is 1.5 million, which I would strongly disagree that is not correct, since we have mandatory harvest reporting and only 30% report their deer kill. So the 70% gap is actually guesstimated with a scientific formula. Our estimated herd population is 1.5 million. Estimated antlerless tags, 1.2 million. They actually increased that by over 1,000 antlerless tags this year. Nobody actually knows how big our deer herd is, but I would say it's less than 1 million. We'll get into some deer numbers here in a few minutes. Some people may not like this video, but some things you have to talk about no matter how uncomfortable they are. And if we're all on the same page, hunting can be a better experience. We can all have a more productive outcome rather than spending hours in the woods and coming up empty-handed. Pennsylvania is actually the 5th worst state to hunt in because of our hunter density. Texas would be number 1. Texas has 56 hunters per square mile. Pennsylvania has 35. So the biggest predator in the woods are the deer hunters. Some areas you actually have 2 deer per square mile with 35 hunters per square mile. So the harvest rate in that area is less than 1%. One area that was overpopulated with deer was Valley Forge. And there were so many deer in there, they were actually becoming stunted. They were very tiny because there was not enough food to support all the animals. Unfortunately, you can't hunt in that park because it's a federal park. And they brought sharpshooters in at night with thermal equipment. They put large bait piles out, and they took about 80% of the deer out of there, and I believe they're still hunting in there. They want to take so many deer out of there per year. They end up at a food bank. They get processed in a burger, and then they get donated to a food bank. That's an example of excessive population. Then there are some areas that you can't find any deer rubs or deer trails, and the area that I'm sitting in probably has 1 to 2 deer per square mile, because the hunter density, based on where I'm at, is probably 40 hunters per square mile or less. This area gets hunted very heavily. The local hunters in this area, you'll see them riding down the road on their bicycle, and they'll have a little cart on the back. They'll have a recliner tree stand in the cart, and their compound also in that cart. Many hunters, many junior hunters in this area. There's a lot of farms in the area that I'm at. So every square inch of Lancaster County gets hunted profusely. So the population is very thin. The deer in here are also very spooky. Some of the homeowners I used to run into when I was hunting in Chester County, they had $1 million+ homes, and they were always complaining that the deer were eating everything. But the hunting posse, there was always 3 of us, and they would never let us hunt on their property. No matter how respectful I promised to be, and yet, you wouldn't even know we were there. We wouldn't leave a mess or anything. But they constantly complain about their deer in their yard. Well, we can't help you if you don't let us hunt there. There are a lot of responsible archery hunters out there, unfortunately, but there's also just as many bad ones. And unfortunately, they give us a bad name. And a lot of times that's where all your posted signs come from. They make the homeowners mad. And the property that was currently open, because they did something that was disrespectful to the property of the homeowner, the next year you come back, there's a wall of posted signs. A lot of the areas that we used to hunt in Schuylkill County are all posted. Hunters behaving badly usually drive that problem. The second problem are the antler restrictions. Everybody wants a giant buck. They want their face on social media with a giant buck that looks like this with a 20-inch spread. Oh, look what I got. So that's actually part of the problem. As deer hunting progresses, I think our values have changed quite a bit. As technology advances, I think everybody's idea of hunting deer has become different. In the past, the older hunters that are in their 60s and 70s and 80s, they would put food on the table, so they were generally happy with whatever deer they shot. Whether it was a spike, a little spike, big spike, giant rack, or a doe, any deer was good. And the second issue would be all the bashing of each other on social media. Your buck's not big enough, you shouldn't have shot that. You're a terrible hunter, and on and on and on and on. I don't have any of that on my channel, and I never will. Any excessively abusive comments on any of my videos, you'll just get deleted or blocked. So I have no tolerance for that. I'm not disrespectful to anybody else, any other YouTuber. Where will hunting be in the future? Not really sure, but probably in the next 10 years. It's predicted that 70% of the hunting population of Pennsylvania will be no more. The average deer hunter of Pennsylvania is 50 and up. And I have some surveys on the community page if you want to check it out. You can put on there how old you are, what you prefer to hunt, what season you prefer to hunt. I've only got a few replies to that so far. And once I get enough responses to the community page, I'll actually make a video out of that. Thank you for all the people that have responded and all the new subscribers. All right, let's go over some wildlife management units. And I'll actually show you the counties that I hunt. I do not hunt in one spot. I hunt in many counties. I hear something crunching around below me. I hunt many counties, and I spend about 3 weekends out of the month looking for deer and making videos and walking around. And no, you do not see all the places that I hunt. Some places I will never show in the video. Some of the areas that I do video, there are hundreds of square miles. St. Anthony's Wilderness consists of State Game Lands 210, 211, and a Witter Company property. The Witter Company actually owns more property than the Game Lands do in that area. That area is approximately 40 square miles, and for you to hunt that area thoroughly, it would take you a very long time, many years. State Game Lands 222 is roughly about 10 to 15 square miles, and if you're sitting along the road there, you have only hunted 1% of that property. I've probably hunted 70 to 80% of that property, because during rifle season in Flintlock, I would make a big loop all the way back to Atlas Powder Company, behind the hunting club in the back, behind Hausers, and then come back down behind the hunting camp at the bottom. And back in the old days, that place got pounded, and there was definitely a pumpkin patch. Rifle season is very dangerous, and you have to keep an open mind. If you get surrounded, you just need to go somewhere else. But those two areas are very vast, and you could hunt a different spot in there every year, and you would never hunt the same spot twice. All right, let's look at our map here. Okay, here's our map of Pennsylvania. I don't really think I can zoom this in anymore. Let's see how close we can get the camera here. How does that look? Here we go. Here's our map of Pennsylvania. So you can see how many units are in here. Generally, most of the time, I hunt at 4C, which is Schuylkill County, right here. It's hard to see here. Actually, this goes up around here. It touches Carbon County. Schuylkill County is a very large county. And on the East Coast, this is probably where I would say the best genes are for the buck. Even the body sizes are ginormous. The western part of Pennsylvania, this is your 3 up, and the rest is 2 up. So the western part of the state has better habitat, and the deer have a tendency to be much larger. But the Game Commission went to larger units to make it easier to crunch the numbers and easier for you as a hunter. So 4C we'll go with first. So you have Schuylkill, Carbon, part of Columbia, you have Dauphin, part of Lebanon. So this area is actually very large. And they followed the highway 61 and 209. Here's the 81, 78, all the way up around. 5C used to be just Chester County, but it is no more. Now 5C follows 222, Route 10. It goes all the way down to Maryland, Delaware, 82, all the way up and around, which is actually a very large area. This is considered urban. 5B is farm country. I do have a family member that lives right on 82, and when they're hunting in their yard, it's 5C. When they go across the other side, it's 5D. So the issue with bigger units are, we'll look at Lancaster. Lancaster has Berks, Lebanon, part of Dauphin, York, in Lancaster County. Currently I am, where am I? Currently I'm over here. And the problem with your antlerless tags, if you put 2,000 antlerless tags in 5B and you have 5 different counties and all the hunters stack up in here, that means you have 30 plus hunters per square mile hunting this county. So you have deer in all these other areas and they're not getting hunted. So this area will be overpopulated. 20 plus deer per square mile. It's estimated right now that every county, according to the deer science, there's 30 deer per square mile. And I'm going to get to that here shortly. But all your hunters will stack up in here, so none of the deer will be taken out in here because they're all hunting this area. They want to shoot a large buck, which everybody does. And unfortunately, Pennsylvania is so overhunted right now because of the antlerless regulations and the season changes that the deer herd is very uneven. It was better when the units were smaller because you could control the deer population much better. And unfortunately, that's what's happening up here because Dauphin County has a very low population of deer. They have an extremely high predator population. They have a lot of bears and a lot of coyotes, and the fawn mortality in here is very high. Lebanon County is nothing like Dauphin County. This is all farm country. And there's some woods there. The northern part up here is where the northern part up here is where most of the mountains start. Schuylkill is prime time habitat. They have exceptional habitat, exceptional food, exceptional genetics. And in my opinion, this should be a 3 up area, not a 2 up, because this has a possibility to grow ginormous buck. And it's also a doe machine. But Schuylkill gets hunted so heavily that the deer population is down in a lot of areas. The only thing going for Schuylkill County is 90% of Schuylkill is private property, and the only areas that you can hunt are state game lands or state forest, or if you can get permission to hunt on a farm. So are larger units better? No way, they're not. You will have very high kills in some areas and very low in others based on population. So how many mature buck do you think there are per square mile? At one time, I would say there were a lot, but because of the antler restrictions, everybody's dialing in on the large deer because of the 2 weeks you can hunt in the rut, which basically is shooting a fish in the barrel. So mature buck, my chicken scratch here, I would say are 3 per mile or less. The antler restrictions are actually taking us backwards right now because everything is being over-harvested. A lot of the buck you see now are 1 to 2 years old, and a lot of forks and a lot of spikes. And the mature buck are gone because they're all shot off. And that's a direct result of hunting 2 weeks into the rut. And the second problem would be concurrent doe season and rifle season in 2 weeks. That's destroying the doe population. The doe can't breed, so you're seeing less and less. And the ones that you do see, people are getting desperate and shooting the yearlings off. So they're actually destroying their reproduction cycle. So you have 2 more weeks of archery in the rut. You have extra week of doe. Rifle. So this would be the cause of our deer population crashing right here. The extra 2 weeks in the week in rifle. How could you make this situation better? 2 extra weeks that were added in the archery season, just make it 1 week in buck only, no doe. And remove the second week of doe during rifle season. Have doe open the second week and not the first week. That would definitely help the deer herd rebound. So there's some thoughts on wildlife management units. Some of these units you actually question, like this one here. This one is 3A. This consists of Tioga, Potter, and McKean County, just by the shape of it. The bear triangle, if you're a bear hunter, is Tioga, Lycoming, and Potter. This is the bear triangle of Pennsylvania. Lycoming always seems to have the highest bear population. So if you're a bear hunter, this is where you want to be, in one of these 3 counties. Unfortunately, we have no idea how many deer are in Pennsylvania. We do know how many bears are in Pennsylvania. We do know how many elk are in Pennsylvania because they have mandatory harvest reporting, and the deer harvest reporting is a joke. It does not work at all. You cannot take a 70% guess because it's always been that way. You have to have mandatory reporting. Some wildlife agencies, once you harvest a deer, you have to send a picture in within 12 hours to 48 hours of that animal. And if not, you can have an excessive fine and lose your hunting license. Do we need to go to that? Who knows? All right, that's it for the map. Still a little chilly in here. Sun's starting to come up. Got some blue jays in the background. Sure doesn't feel like June, does it? It's still pretty cold. Check my notes here. A lot of stuff to remember on this video. My opinion is smaller units are better. I was actually told at one time by a person that shall remain anonymous that I believe it was 5C. They actually don't know how many deer are killed in that area, and there's not enough data to crunch the numbers. Let me move the camera up a little bit here. It's getting kind of chilly in here. Put my jacket back on. Even though the sun's coming up, it's very, very chilly for June. Here we go, a little bit warmer. Some of the areas that I did some scouting were in Potter County. I did see a lot of deer up there. They have much better habitat. We used to hunt Tioga County when I was growing up. We would go up there for a week at the end of October with my dad and his brother and one of their friends. I always saw a lot of deer up there, but then again, that was back in the 80s when we had deer. And I've never seen a browse line, even when the deer numbers were up. So apparently, somebody's not telling the truth here. I don't see any forest damage anywhere, and our deer numbers are way down. They still say that there's a lot of damage to the forest, and things are not regenerating. So that would be questionable to me. And even in the urban areas, I don't see any excessive damage where there's supposed to be 30 deer per square mile. The first year that we actually hunted into the rut, there was a high buck kill. The deer are fairly easy to kill during the rut because they're not paying attention to the hunters. A few of them I was very close to, and they just don't pay attention to the hunters much. They're more interested in reproducing. The second year, the deer numbers went down more, and last year I think they went down even further, even though anybody wants to admit to it. Foresters are supposed to report to the Game Commission and let them know in a report how much recovery the forest has or how much more damage it has. And top of that, car insurance agencies will actually file a report with the commission. Every time there's an accident, the commission has to pay $50 per accident to the insurance company. Unfortunately, you cannot control the driving habits of any driver. I just believe the deer are getting a bad end of the deal based on bad driving habits. All the years that I've hunted, I've never actually hit a deer. I've had a lot of close calls, and probably a large part of them, people will actually hit deer, and it's not actually the deer's fault because they failed to stop or slow down or swerve around it. So currently Pennsylvania has 750,000 hunters. 2022, these are the deer harvest numbers. According to our wildlife agency, we killed 164,190 buck, 258,770 doe. Total deer harvest 4296. So if the deer herd is 1.5 million, you've actually removed a third of the deer in Pennsylvania, and that does not include how many of them were killed by predators or cars. According to the numbers that you find online, the hunting success rate in Pennsylvania is 50%. Last year, the deer that I saw harvested, they were yearlings. They were probably about 1.5 years to 2 years, and I only saw 2 doe. Heard a lot of shooting, but I'm guessing they're all opening up on the doe because there's so many extra doe tags. I did not find any sign of any mature buck. By the rubs on the trees or the scrapes all had very small buck prints in them, so they're all yearlings too. How do you feel about the estimated deer herd, 30 deer per square mile versus 30 hunters per square mile? Do you believe our deer population is 1.5 million? The deer harvest goes down every year. Reporting, Pennsylvania will never know how many deer we have in our herd, but I would say it's definitely less than 1.5 million. Our hunter numbers will start to crash as the older hunters give up. Harvest number, if only 30% of the people are reporting their harvest. I was actually guilty of that one time, and there were a few deer that I did not report at one time during the deer wars back in the 80s and the 90s. I'm sure there's a lot of deer out there that nobody ever knows about that are being harvested. They're not being reported, so that right there, that points to the harvest numbers being way off, because I was part of that at one time. And as far as bear, I'm sure there's also bear that are not being reported being harvested. A lot of them go to the meat pole and they get processed and stuck in the freezer. A long time ago, when my uncles used to hunt Potter County, they would hunt over behind the state police station on that mountain. And a lot of times they didn't get any deer, so they would go to the local farmer. They would open the barn doors, and lo and behold, there was 20 or 30 deer in the barn, all gutted. And then you would pick whatever deer you wanted, and you would pay the farmer, and you would have a deer. So there was more than one time where they came in with more than one deer. The farmer was actually shooting them and selling them to the hunters coming north. Not everybody hunts deer when they go north. They're drinking and playing cards and having a good time, which there's nothing wrong with. Always a good time with deer camp. Let's talk about another hunting tradition in Pennsylvania. Starting to feel kind of buggy here. Lots of bugs starting to bite me and lots of pollen still coming off the trees. How do you feel about Monday opener versus Saturday opener for rifle after Thanksgiving? When I was growing up, probably most of the population when I was going to school, we all had Monday off because we all were hunting somewhere. We had a lot of deer and we shot a lot of deer. At the end of the day in rifle season, everybody would talk at the butcher or usually at Heisler's, and everybody had deer in the back of their car and their truck. You would go to the butcher and they were stacked 10 or 15 to a pile, and they had 5 or 6 guys skinning them and processing them. There we had no shortage of deer, no shortage of deer hunters, very few posted signs. It was a good time. Times have changed quite a bit. Our junior hunters are fading away as fast as the older hunters. So which day was better, opening Saturday or opening Monday? The northern part where everybody had a camp, they would buy all their supplies. open their camp up Saturday, dry the camp out, get the fire going, scout their spots out Saturday and Sunday morning. Monday morning they would be in their spot. Versus Saturday, which you would have to go up Friday night, take a day off, do everything in one day, and then you would be in your spot Saturday morning. By moving the Monday opener to Saturday, it affected a lot of camps in the north. It actually impacted the finances of all the small businesses from the hunters. Hunting actually has a great impact on the north as far as licenses and lodging and food and everything else that you need up there, deer processing. My dad always had his deer processed in Tioga County, and I believe he was only paying $30 or $40 back in the day. But I prefer a Monday opener for rifle because it's part of our history and it's our hunting tradition, just like this, which was taken away this year. This we should have had a vote on. All the hunters should have voted. They wanted over-the-counter tags or the pink envelope, and this will be no more. And currently there's a battle raging over moving Saturday opener back to Monday, and I actually hope that we go back to the Monday opener. Comments are always awesome on the pink envelope and the opening day of rifle. Another tradition of Pennsylvania was opening day of trout. It was only one day, and at some point in time the Fish Commission decided to make two, one for the southern region and one for the northern region, and that did not work out. So they backpedaled on that a little bit. Now we're back to one day. Things are back to normal. Hopefully Monday opener will go back to where it's supposed to be. I'm going to guess when June 26th rolls around and the over-the-counter tags start rolling out, the computer will crash. Quite a few times I was buying a license at the local hardware store and the system crashed or went down. There was about 20 deep in line, and one fellow actually, the computer, something happened to it and it printed out 5 licenses for him. And that was kind of funny. So about 2 hours later I had my hunting license once they got the system rolling again. Computers never work the way they're supposed to. And the good old days will always be better. If you're gonna go to an over-the-counter tag for an antlerless license, I do believe that you should just give every hunter an antlerless tag. You ask them which unit they want to be in, and it comes with a license like the other states do. If you're going to go for it, go all the way, not half the way. Some states that don't have enough hunters, they actually give you 4 antlerless tags with your license, and I'm not sure how that would go, but definitely need to slow down how many deer are being taken out every year. In deer season, every year gets worse and worse. In the past, I've hunted 30 days plus all the time I spent scouting all summer. And I'm still putting all the scouting time in. I'm just seeing less and less deer. So this year I'll be lucky if I hunt 5 days. I need to see some deer. I'm paying a lot of money for my license. I expect to see something in the woods. Not squirrels, birds flying by, and other hunters asking me if they saw any deer, which was a topic of discussion last year. I've actually talked to 7 or 8 hunters, and none of them have seen any deer. They always talked about the deer that they've shot in the past. Some of them did see a few doe, but they refused to shoot them. It may be myself this year. I may not buy an antlerless tag. So I'll be one of the guys sitting in the woods watching a 1 or 2 straggler does go by. That's it for this video. Let me know how you feel about pink envelopes. Monday opener for rifle. Comments are awesome. If you like this video, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in our next video. Thanks for watching PA Timber Ghost.